So, onto the wash. We got the wheels done and we're going to start by rinsing the truck pretty thoroughly. From there we're going to take the foam cannon, snow foam the whole truck, let it dwell for a few minutes, and then once it's been on there for a bit, we'll give it another good rinse, and at that point 90+% of any loose dirt and that kind of stuff will be gone, and then we will probably spray it down with iron remover and then do our wash with a mitt. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 way to do it. We let the iron remover do its thing. It'll dissolve iron particles and be the first part of our decontamination step, and the agitation of the mitt while we're washing it will just help that along. It adds a bit of lubricant. Like, we obviously still have wash soap in our bucket, so nothing's really changed on the wash there other than adding that extra product in there just to kind of skip a step afterwards. So once we're done with the mitt, we'll give it another rinse, and then we'll hit it with a clay mitt and a clay bar and get any remaining contamination. So here we go. I'm gonna start rinsing now. Just a side note, if you are at a commercial car wash, don't put the wand as close as we have the wand here. This pressure washer is basically for car washing, so it's only maybe 700 psi, so it's not going to blow your paint off or anything weird like that. If you have a big gas pressure washer, obviously stay a lot further away. Like, you can't put your hand in front of it. You probably shouldn't be that close to your paint, just in case you catch an edge or something and you can do some damage. So if you see us right up on the paint, it's because I can do that, and it doesn't hurt my hand. It's not going to hurt your paint. So we completed the rinse. We're just going to move on to the foam bath. So we just have our standard pressure washer gun made by MTM, and then also the Ep.2 foam cannon. I'm just going to foam the truck down, let it dwell, and then we'll give it another rinse. Inside the foam cannon here, we have Meguiars Hyper Wash, and then we put a little bit of Optimum Power Clean in it just to give a little extra cleaning power and help strip off any crap that's on there. So the foam's been on there for a few minutes. We let it dwell. We're just gonna rinse the foam off and any remaining dirt that was on the surface. Spray down with Gyeon iron remover, and then get on with the wash. So the rinsing is complete. Right here I have Gyeon iron. Any iron remover is suitable. They're all pretty similar. Gyeon iron, I just like the way it works and it doesn't smell too terrible. Most of them have a real awful sulfur smell. This one does too, but not as bad as some that I've worked with. But if you're doing it yourself, CarPro makes Iron X, they're great. There's a few other ones. Meguiars makes one called Iron Decon. It works better than almost all the other ones, but it smells so bad that it's not really worth using. Yeah, but any iron remover, what we do is we're gonna mist it over the surface, let it sit for a few minutes, and then we're gonna start washing with the mitt. In our rinse, or in our bucket, we have Mckees N914, which is a rinseless wash solution. We really like that one. We kind of bounce back and forth between that and Optimum No Rinse. They're pretty interchangeable. The N914 smells a little bit nicer, and it does seem to keep the wash media a little bit cleaner, which means it has something in it that is making the dirt kind of come out much easier. So I'm assuming that's better for the surface, but either one, Optimum No Rinse or N914, they're both awesome. Or if you want to stick with something like what we used in the foam Canon wash, then you could just put in Meguiars Hyper Wash. Optimum has a car wash, which is really good. Coach Kenny has, I think it's GSF, which is really popular right now. I haven't had a chance to try it, but I'm hearing really good things about that one. So you could, if you like foam washes, you could use one of those. But I'm gonna get to the iron removal, and then we'll start the wash. So I just applied the iron remover, and some people that do it yourself, they will want to just buy a brand new vehicle and then just put a coating right on top after just the wash. I'm gonna unclip the camera here and show you why, just because this truck was just purchased I think only a few days ago, and we already have a lot of iron going on. So if you don't do the decontamination, then you're going to be putting your coating over top of a lot of embedded iron. So all of those little spots that you see that are purple are little bits of iron that are being dissolved by the iron remover. So if you were to just wash the vehicle, and then put your ceramic coating on it, you are putting a coating over top of all of those little bits of iron, which doesn't seem like a very good idea to me. So that is the reason that we do, at the very least, decontamination first. 99% of the time we will polish first as well, but the odd time we'll just have a customer that just wants some protection and is looking for a very low budget option, and the only coating that we will do without polishing is the Can Coat or Can Coat Pro, which is about a year in longevity. So that's it. But lots of iron for a brand new truck, just because it did get transported from the factory, whether it's by rail or in the back of a hauler. So it did see a lot of action on its way here, and it probably sat on the lot for a little while, which is, most lots are right beside a highway, so it's just always a very good idea to do a decontamination before you even consider putting on a wax or a sealant. So we've made our way around the vehicle with the wash. I'm about to, so when you're washing, ideally you're gonna go top down because gravity exists obviously, and then work your way down to probably the edge, or if you wanna be ultra safe, you can do an upper, kind of a midpoint. It's, the dirtiest part is gonna be underneath. Under here, as much as we rinsed it really well, you still get a bit of dirt. So what we do is we wash to somewhere around this lower portion, and then at the very end we'll take our mitt and we'll go around into the edge of the wheel well, underneath all the edges of the doors and around the whole vehicle, and then that mitt goes into the wash and doesn't touch the vehicle again until it's clean. It's just an extra step in trying not to put scratches in the vehicle, even though we are about to polish it. It's still good not to put in scratches. So when you're doing a maintenance wash, be a little more careful. Just, you saw that we dip in the bucket often, wash a small section, flip the pad to a clean side, wash another small section, dip it in the water, rinse it really good. If you are a big fan of foam washes, then, and you have something like Meguiars Hyper Wash or whatever you use, it is not a bad idea to have a second bucket and just have a rinse. So you rinse your mitt and then into the foam wash with a rinseless wash. I don't see a need for it. We're pretty careful around here, and we've done it for a really long time and never had an issue putting scratches into vehicles with our wash process. So it is up to you, it's a personal choice. Do what makes you feel good. But I'm just gonna hit the last little bit underneath, and then we'll give it a rinse, and then we'll get to clean. gonna start the mechanical part of the decontamination. What I have here is Nanoskin Glide. It is clay lubricant. We're just gonna liberally spray it over the whole vehicle. So this will help the clay, whatever you use, whether it's a clay bar or clay pad, not scratch and mar the surface. And then the trick with a clay pad is the more times you go over, the more stuff you're grabbing out of the paint. It's not really a matter of how hard you press. If you press hard, you're going to scratch the surface. Just keep it well lubricated. In my bucket, I have a rinse-less wash, N914 by Mckees 37, I believe. And that alone, they say, can be used as a clay lube. We like to use that in conjunction with the Nanoskin Glide. It just gives you that extra little bit of lubrication so you know you're not damaging the surface when you're trying to improve it. Dip your mitt as often as you can. And just make sure to go over the whole vehicle. This one has some film on the front, so you want to stay a little bit away from the edges, otherwise you'll get black from the pad in the edges of the film. And if you do by accident, it's not the end of the world, as when we do the polishing step, that'll take that out. And even just the final rinse and dry will likely be enough to take any little bit that you get in the edges out. Yeah, so we'll just go around the vehicle reasonably thoroughly. This one's brand new, so you can get away with doing it a little bit quicker, but it's always a good idea just to take your time, make sure you get every square inch, and then once we're done with the clay pad, we're going to move on to a clay bar in around emblems and door handles and areas that this big guy won't reach. And other than that, this is kind of a good step because we're looking real close at the paint, where you'll see if there's anything like tar or any of that kind of stuff, and then you can either make a note of it and come back with a tar remover afterwards, or you can kind of do it, rewash that one spot and then continue. A lot of tar removers, they will break down the synthetic clay, so you don't want to put on the tar remover and use your clay pad on top of that because you'll damage it. So just address it and rewash, or do the whole clay and then come back, spray on the tar remover, and then use your mitt to remove any tar specks. This vehicle is pretty good. There's one spot of tar or sap right on the hood. And then back here, there is a little spot that I'll show you where he got undercoating done. And undercoaters are very good at spraying the paint with little black dots that kind of look like tar, except that they're always right in between the cab and the box, right where they're doing the undercoating. So all inside here on the other side, there's a little bit here, but not too much. It's just speckled black, and we'll take that out too. Then this is just a clay bar, mild. We're going to use that to get in the tight area. And that should be it for claying. Just going to give it one final rinse and then we'll dry it off and get to polishing. So we just did the final rinse. We're about to do the blow dry and then we'll dry it with a towel. We have a Master Blaster Air Force Revolution, I believe. It's the dual motor 8, I think it's 4 and 4, so 8 horsepower blower. Works really good. If you don't have one of those, you can use a battery operated or corded leaf blower. A gas leaf blower works, it's just a little rough on the ears. So after we blow the vehicle off, what we do is we're just drying it with a twist loop towel. This one is a detailing popo towel. They make lots of great towels, their pricing's great and the quality's quite good. There are some other great ones as well from the rag company that we use, as well as almost any twist loop towel from a decently reputable manufacturer will do the job. What we're doing here is spraying Gyeon prep on the surface. So it's just a surface prep for before coatings. It is alcohol based and it just helps strip any remaining wax or oils off the surface. It's not entirely necessary at this point, but it's just a nice little extra bit of peace of mind when you're coming into the polishing with a pretty much coating ready surface. You know that the only thing going to be left on there is what you're putting on with your polish. And our polish that we're going to use on this vehicle is Gyeon primer, so there's not going to be anything added to the surface that would kind of hurt the coating process or give it a reason not to adhere properly. So that's why we use the prep at this point, just to give us a little bit of peace of mind. And then once we're done drying, we're going to move on to polishing, which will be in the next video series, so stay tuned and we'll get to that.